ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अथ चतुर्थोऽध्यायः। In the last few verses of Bhagavad Gita, that is from the Shloka 21 to 24, Bhagavan Krishna explained the nature of the yogi, that is the nature of a jnani. He said that a jnani, he will accept whatever comes to him. He doesn't take any effort to take care of his health or his needs. He is not attached to the action or the fruits of the action. And Bhagavan Krishna also explained in detail the phrase inaction in action through the example of the jnani, the nature of the jnani. And he said the very important verse, that is the Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnau Brahmanahudam Brahmaiva Tena Gandhavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. I explained that verse also. That is, a jnani see everything as Brahman. There is no difference for him. He will see the sacrifice, view the sacrifice as Brahman, the oblation given as Brahman, the harvest given as Brahman, the result received by the receiver, that is Yajamana, is Brahman. So everything is Brahman to his eye. He doesn't see anything other than Brahman. In the next few verses also, that is from the verse 25 to 30, Bhagavan Krishna uses this same example, that is yajna, sacrifice, to explain different points for attaining Atma Jnana. Different sadhanas, in fact, they are the different sadhanas for attaining Atma Jnana. There are almost 12 sadhanas coming in these 5 verses. So let us see all of them. Daivamevapare yajnam yogina paryupasate brahmagnavapare yajnam yajnenaivopajuhvati. Bhagavan Krishna says, there are 2 yajnas in this shloka, that is shloka 25. First is the Deva Yajna and the other is the Brahma Jnana Yajna or the Jnana Yajna. In the Deva Yajna, the Devas, they are the gods, they are invoked by chanting mantras, and in the sacrifice of fire, the oblation is given. And the devas, they are satisfied by that and they give the desired result for the Yajamana. So here, Daivame Vabhari. Abhari means some people. That is, some people means the karma yogis mainly, because it is said in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas. This yajna itself is said in the Karma Kanda. Bhagavan Krishna is using this example, that is the yajna example, because and during that time, the ancient period, the yajnas are very famous. And so he is taking that example. Deva Mahabhav, that is, they invoke Daivam, they invoke the Devas in that yajna. Yogina Paryupasade, they perform yajna and they invoke the deities by chanting mantra and they give the havis. Havis is just like what I said as clarified butter, ghee, or it may be annam, rice, or it may be fruits or puffed rice, or according to the yajna, it will differ. So the next yajna, it is a very good sadhana for the mumukshus. Bhagavan Krishna says, Brahmagnavapare yajnam yajnenaivobajuhvati. Brahmagnav, in the Agni of Brahman. And the next word yajna means it denotes the Jivatma. Yajnena by the Jivatma. So the Jivatma gives Jivatma itself in the Agni of Brahman. So here the harvest is the Jivatma and the sacrificial fire is Brahman. So the Jivatma gives itself in the sacrifice in the Agni of Brahman. In the Brahmagni, the Jiva gives himself, which means that till then the Jiva believes that he is a samsari, he is an individual, and he may have many dreams and all that. But once when a person, that is a Jivatma, is established in Brahmajnana, in the self, then he becomes Brahman himself. He is always established in that non-dual bliss. So that's the meaning of this verse. So the Jivatma gives himself in the Brahmagni. So actually the second line is used in Nididhyasana for the mumukshus, that is the Brahmajnanis. In the next shloka, that is the 26th shloka, chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, Shrotraadinindriyanyanye Sayyamagnishu juhvati Shabdadin Vishayan Anye Indriyagnishu juhvati. Here in the first verse, thus, Dhamma Yajna is explained. Dhamma means the control of the senses. And in the next line of that same verse, the Vishaya Grahana Yajna is explained. Now let us see what is that. Shrotradi, that means like hearing sense. We have five senses. Like hearing sense, Shrotradi means like hearing, that is a sense of sight, the seeing is one sense, taste, touch sense, that feeling, gandha, smell, that is one sense. So these are all the five senses. That is considered as harvest. Sayyamagnishu. Sayyama means the control, that is the willpower. So these senses are the harvest, and they are given in the Sayyama Agni, that is the willpower, Agni of willpower, which means one must control the senses by willpower. So that's the meaning of this first line. Vishaya means objects. Grahana means that is the experience or experiencing it. So here is Bhagavan says Shabdadi, like Shabda. So like Shabda, what are they? Like sound, we see good forms, that is one thing. Good taste, that is another thing. Good thing to feel, good thing to smell. So all these are Vishayas for the Indriyas, the objects for the Indriyas. So that good objects, Shabdadin Vishayan Anye. Vishaya means objects Anye. Indriyagnishu Juhvati. So you should give all these good objects for the senses into the Indriyas, that is the senses. That is, we should give all the good things to the Indriyas, which means we should only hear what is good, only see what is good, only taste what is good for the health, only smell good things. So, just like that. So, here the Vishaya objects are given, that is, the good things are given as harvest in the Agni of the Indriyas, which means the Indriyas should only sense the good things. So that is the Vishaya Grahana. Grahana means experience. The Indriyas should experience only the good things. That is the second yajna, in this verse, particular verse. So all these are imaginative yajnas. One should think like this, imagine like this during meditation or nididhyasana. It helps a lot for us to attain Atma Jnana. In the next verse, that is in the verse 27, Bhagavan Krishna says, Sarvanindriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma sayyama yogagnahu juhvati jnana deepite. Bhagavan Krishna says that in whatever way we control the senses, sometimes or somehow evil things may go in our mind. Or due to our prarabdha karmas, we some evil thoughts pop up in our mind. And we keep on thinking about it again and again and make the matter worse. So one has to control the mind. So this is the sama yajna. That is the control of the sama means control of the mind. Somehow the wrong thoughts enter our mind in spite of filtering through the senses. So all these wrong thoughts, they are the habits, and they should be given as in where in the Atma Sayyama Yogagna, in the yoga of self restraint. So all these wrong thoughts are given as habits in the yoga of self restraint, that is the control of the mind. So the first filtration is done by the senses. If at all any wrong thoughts enter our mind through the senses or due to our prarabdha karmas, some wrong thoughts or evil thoughts may pop up in our mind. So that wrong thoughts, they must be controlled. And here the Agni is the control of the mind. Juhvadi jnana deepite. And sometimes you see when we perform yajna, the fire will be very dim and it will not grow properly. So at that time, they blow the fire. So just like blowing the fire here, what is said is the jnana deepite. It is kindled by knowledge. So the control of the mind, by the control of the mind, the wrong thoughts should be controlled. If at all, if we don't find it possible or if we find it difficult, then that controlling power should be kindled by jnana. In short, what Bhagavan says is the wrong thoughts or the evil thoughts or our all our actions by must be controlled by jnana. Actually, when we establish ourselves in jnana or when we concentrate more on the Atma Jnana, then all these things, that is the evil thoughts or our evil behavior, bad nature, everything will automatically shed off. So Bhagavan is telling one must control the mind by jnana. So that's the meaning of this verse. In the next verse, that is in the next shloka, 28th shloka, five types of yajna are explained by Bhagavan Krishna. Dravya yajnastapho yajnaha yoga yajnastatha pare swadhyaya jnana yajnascha yatha samshita vrataha. So here five types of yajnas or sacrifices are said here. That is five types of sadhanas. First is the dravya yajna. Dravya yajna means that is the material yajna. Here what Bhagavan Krishna actually means is the charity or dana. So we give some material. It can be dana, can be anything. It can be material or money or some objects or even spending our valuable time for the needs of others. That is such a great yajna. So that yajna, that is the habis. what we give is the harvest. It may be anything, but we should not expect the return from them. Expectation we should not have. Whatever you give is a dhana, and that is the dravya yajna, that is the object, that is the harvest. Where is it given? What is that sacrificial fire? The sacrificial fire is the receiver. So when the receiver get it with satisfaction, with happiness, that satisfaction content feeling will be transferred to us, and that itself help us to attain Atma Jnana. That's why dana is very important, and it is accompanied with all the ritual practices in karma kanda. After performing any type of ritual, we have to give dana, because giving dana at that second or that moment, the person who receives us bless us. By that blessing, that feeling of contentment is passed to us, and it will ease us to attain Atmajnana. The next yajna is the tapo yajna. Tapas means we are restraining our thoughts or our likes and dislikes. We restrain our temptations. We restrain our mind. We restrain the indiscipline in us. So, tabas is a great yajna. So, what are all the habits here? The temptations of the mind, the indiscipline in us, all these are the habits. And where it is given? In the, or again, it's given in the willpower. So that willpower is the Agni. The control of the mind is the Agni, in which all our temptations, wrong thoughts, and indiscipline are given. So Tabas is a great yajna. The next is the Yoga Yajna. Yoga Yajna means here what Bhagavan Krishna refers is the Patanjali's Ashtanga Yoga. That is the yoga which has 8 steps. That is Yama, external discipline; Niyama, internal discipline; Asana, posture; Pranayama, breath control; Pratyahara, control of the senses; Dhyana, focusing on one idea; Dharana, continuous flow of that idea; and Nididhyasana, the ultimate union with Brahman. So that itself is a great yajna. And the next yajna said by Bhagavan Krishna is the Swadhyaya yajna. Swadhyaya means in studying Vedas in the ancient time, 2 procedures are followed, 2 steps are followed. That is, when a student approaches an acharya or a guru, first he has to do the Shabda Grahana. Only then the Artha Grahana they will give. The acharyas will give the Artha Grahana. The Shabda Grahana means whatever text they want to study, they have to by heart the shlokas or mantras in that text. Suppose if a student approaches a guru to study Upanishad, then he has to by heart or memorize all the shlokas in the mantras in the Upanishad. Suppose if a student approaches to study Bhagavad Gita, then he has to by heart all the 700 verses. Suppose if a student approaches a guru to study Panini's grammar, then he has to first by heart all the 4,000 sutras. Only then he is qualified for the next level of education, that is the Artha Grahana. And those times, the students they felt no difficulty in doing that, because they had tremendous memorizing power. And in a way, it is helpful, because when you know the slokas, then it is easy for us to understand the meaning. For example, some slokas we know or we are very familiar with in Bhagavad Gita. So when we understand the meaning of it after it, that it will be in our mind always. So in a way, that's very easy for those students in the ancient times, but not anymore. The next step is the Artha Grahana, that is the understanding the meaning of the shlokas. So the study of the scripture, it has two steps, Shabda Grahana and the Artha Grahana. They itself, they are the great sacrifice yajna. So that is Swadhyaya yajna and just studying the scriptures. Then another yajna is the Jnana yajna. Jnana means knowledge. To have knowledge, one must study Vyakarana, it's important, that is the grammar. Then Tarka Shastra, very important, because in ancient times they argue and understand the meaning. And arguing with the guru or the anyone is not prohibited in Sanatana Dharma. You can argue and ask questions to anyone to understand, not within the argument, but to understand one can ask questions. Even if you see the Adi Shankara Bhashya for the Upanishad or Gita or anything, we will see that Tarka format in his Bhashyas. That is, he will first explain the verse, then the opponent, he will ask a question in that, then the Vedanta will give an answer. For that, again the opponent will ask a question, a Vedanta will answer that. So when we study this in this format, there is the least possibility of any doubt arising in our mind. So that's a very good format, but I think no more it's followed because the acharyas, the modern acharyas, they just give the meaning and the students will understand it. So the Tarka Shastra is very important for knowledge. Then the Purva Mimamsa about some rituals they practice. So all these are just like taking auxiliary subjects or elective subjects when we what we do for higher education. So that knowledge itself is a great tapas. So that's said as the great sacrifice. Bhagavan Krishna in this shloka explains five different sacrifice, that is five different sadhanas. First is the dravya yajna, that is charity dhana. The next is the tapo yajna, then yoga, that is another yajna, swadhyaya yajna, and jnana yajna. So but who does all this? The person who has rigid vows. Samshita vrataha. He restrains the mind, rigid vows to understand knowledge. That is jnana yogis. They perform all the sacrifice. So the next verse, that is the 29th verse, Bhagavan Krishna says, Apane juhvati pranam prane panam tatha pare pranapanagati ruddhva pranayama parayanaha. So in this verse, pranayama is taken as the sacrifice. Everyone knows about pranayama and many people will practice also. Pranayama means pranasya ayama. That is prana. Ayama means control. So control of the prana is the pranayama. Pranayama is a practice to control the mind and the body by controlling the main prana. Pranayama is related with the Pranamaya Kosha and it is very closely connected with the Annamaya Kosha, which is the physical body, and the Manomaya Kosha, which is the mental sheath. So when you do pranayama, both the mind and body will be controlled. Pranayama is concerned with the main prana, that is the control of the main prana. By pranayama, we control the main prana. And this main prana is very closely connected with the other four pranas. So the five together are controlled by doing pranayama. Prana, the main prana vayu, is very closely connected with the apana vayu, which rests in the abdominal region, and it is responsible for all our digestive and reproductive functions of the body. and with it is connected, and with the main prana is connected the Vyana Vayu. It is responsible for the circulation of blood and circulation of oxygen, etc. And it is prana is very closely connected with the Udhana Vayu. That is, the Udana Vayu is in the neck region, and it is responsible for the speech and thought, everything. And it is also, main prana is connected with the Samana Vayu, which is responsible for separating the nutrition from the food and giving it to the blood and tissues, everything. And it is also controls the feelings of a person. So the main prana, it is connected with the Apana Vayu, Vyana Vayu, Udhana Vayu, Samana Vayu. The four other Vayus it is connected. So by doing pranayama, you are controlling all these functions in the body. That is the digestive function, reproductive function, speech, thought process, that is in the mind, circulation of blood, circulation of oxygen in the body, separating the nutrition from the food. All these are done by the prana. The prana plays a very important role in it. So by doing pranayama, all these functions are controlled, and so obtain care must be taken before doing pranayama. One should do pranayama with full concentration on the prana, very slowly, understanding it from the very proper guru, and must concentrate on the prana itself and must do regularly. So that's the importance of pranayama in the yogic culture. And here Bhagavan Krishna is taking that pranayama as an example, that is as for the sacrifice. He explains the pranayama through sacrifice. That is, in the pranayama, three steps are involved. First, we inhale breath, and that inhaling breath is called the prana vayu. That is a prana vayu, and the inhalation itself is called the puraka. So we exhale, after that we exhale that prana, and the exhaling prana is called the apana vayu, and the exhalation is called the rechaka. So some yogis, they restrain the breath in them. It may be for a few seconds, up to several hours, they will be able to restrain the prana in them, and that restraining the prana in them is called the kumbhaka. So when a person concentrates on the inhalation, that is, when he concentrates on the prana itself, it is called the puraka pranayama. When a person concentrate on the exhaling air itself, very slowly he has to leave the breath out. That is, that when he concentrates on the apana vayu, that pranayama is called the rechaka pranayama. And this is comparatively a little bit difficult than the puraka pranayama, because when we take the breath in and restrain it for some time and leave it, we cannot very slowly leave it in the beginning. After practice, we can do it. The air will push and come out. So it's a great tabas only. And sometimes the yogis, they restrain the prana in them. That is called the kumbhaka pranayama. In the Puraka Pranayama, what they do is, how it is explained is, the inhaling prana is given as havis in the Apana Vayu. That is, Bhagavan Krishna says, Apane Juhvati Prana. The prana vayu is given, that is in the inhalation process, that is in the Puraka Pranayama. The inhaling prana, the inhaling air is given as havis in the apana vayu, that is the exhaling air. Exhaling vayu, apana vayu. Prana is given as havis in the apana. In the Rechaka pranayama, what happens is, apana vayu is given as havis in the prana vayu. So it's a cycle. In the first pranayama, first you inhale. The inhaling prana, that is inhaling prana, is given as habis in the exhaling apana. In the next step, the exhaling apana is given as habis in the inhaling prana. It's a cycle. We take breath, then we will leave it. So that's explained here. So in the restraint of the breath, kumbhaka pranayama, what is the habits? Both prana and apana, they are both are restrained by the kumbhaka action. So in the kumbhaka pranayama, both prana and apana are given as habits in the restraint of the breath, that is kumbhaka. So this is explained by Bhagavan Krishna very beautifully. When this pranayama is done perfectly regularly, then it controls all the physiological functions of the body. Everything is controlled by the pranayama, and it also controls the mind. And the yogi performs this pranayama to attain Atma Jnana. So the next verse, that is the verse 30 of chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita is अभरे नियताहाराः प्राणान् प्राणेषु जुह्वति सर्वे भेदे यज्ञविदः यज्ञक्षविदकल्मषाः. In this verse, that is verse 30 of chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna is explaining about the niyataharaha, that is the control of the food. And it's a famous saying that jite rasam jite sarve. That is, when you win over the taste, then it's understood that you can control everything. You win over everything. And three steps are very important in controlling the food. The first is the parimita ahara. Parimita ahara means limited food. One should take only limited food, even though the food is good for health and it is good in all ways, even if it is divine food like prasada, one should take it in a limited amount. That what is the limit for the food? The limit for the food is when you sit to eat, you must be an empty stomach. We should not often eat food. So half the stomach we have to fill with food. We should not swallow food, we should eat food. We must concentrate on the food that tastes everything. Eat slowly the food. So fill half of the stomach with food. The rest, 1 by 4, fill it with water. So only after taking food, one should fill with drink water. The rest, 1 by 4, one has to leave it free for the circulation of the prana and the air so that it will digest quickly. So like this, with the 4-hour gap, one has to take food. So this is the parimita ahara. The next is the hitam ahara. Hitam ahara means the good food, not junk food. That food which is good for our health, that food which is very pure in all ways, only that food one should take. The next is the amethyam ahara. That means pure fresh food. Methyam ahara means that's impure food and old food like that. We all are eating methya food only because of the refrigerators. We keep it in the fridge 1 or 2 after the next day or even the day after that we consume it. So it's already said in the yogic tradition that once when the food is cooked, one should take it within 3 hours, or otherwise all the vitamins, nutrition, and everything will go out from it. Then it will be only matter; it's not food. So that is the amethyam ahara. It should be pure, good food, fresh food. So these three steps are involved in concerning food. Now, what Bhagavan Krishna is telling is, when we take food like this, because the subtlest food goes to the mind, The gross thing coming out from the food, it goes out of the body. The next thing, subtle as well as gross, it becomes the nutrition and all that. The subtlest form of the food, in the form of vibration, it goes to the mind. That's why when we take pure fresh food, our mind will be always fresh. And it is very clearly explained in the following chapters of Bhagavad Gita itself. It is the sattvic food. So by when you do pranayama, automatically the digestive system, the circulatory functions, everything will become right. So when you do pranayama, what are you doing? We are giving the uncontrolled prana as habis in the controlled pranagni. So you are giving, a person, a yogi is giving the uncontrolled prana as habis in the controlled pranagni. So that's the importance of pranayama. Pranan praneshu jihvati. The uncontrolled prana is given as a sacrifice in the controlled prana. So when you do all this, the physical body, all the functions of the physical body, like a digestive system, circulation of blood, everything will be controlled. Not only that, the mind also will be controlled and it becomes pure. By this yajna, Bhagavan Krishna is telling, yajna kshabida kalmashaha. Kshabida means that destroy, and kalmashaha means all the impurities and sins. Sin, one would have committed sin. All that in the form of impressions, they will settle in the mind. So by doing pranayama, all that impressions will be removed, as well as the body also will be, the digestive system and everything will be controlled. So these are the 12 sadhanas for attaining Atma Jnana. Bhagavan Krishna are explaining these 12 sadhanas through the example of the yajna. So with that, I take a break now and I continue with the rest of the verses of chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita in my next video. यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूति ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम. ॐ श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु.